My name is Jared Mead. I'm one of your Snohomish County Council members, and as was stated by Vivian previously, I served in the Washington State Legislature in the House of Representatives. So I've served in local government. I'm serving in local government now, like Will Chen is on the Edmond City Council, and I have served in Olympia, like Will Chen will be in January of next year. I have spent 10 years in elected office. I've worked with hundreds of elected officials throughout my career, and a lot of them, many elected officials are great people, competent, very good at their job. Some elected officials aren't. And our system is set up in a way, I think over the last 5 or 10 years, we've become a lot more divided, a lot more divisive in our politics. And the system we've set up with social media and money in politics, we've seen, I think, more of the latter, elected officials starting to have more success in politics at the highest levels. And it's resulted in legislative bodies that don't necessarily always come to the greatest solutions and aren't necessarily set up to meet the moment, the greatest challenges that we're facing. Here in Washington State, things like housing, our economic situation here, our budget woes that we're feeling, our public safety system, childcare affordability, climate change, and we need to start electing leaders who have the competency, the core competencies to address these issues, and have the political skill sets to do that. We deserve better, we can have better, we just have to demand better. And Will Chen is better. I've worked with Will Chen for years now in his role as a city council member and my role as a county council member. And he is someone with more integrity, more humility, kindness, and competency than anyone I've met in elected office, including myself. And that's saying a lot. I feel a lot about myself. But he also has the traits, the 3 traits that I look for most in elected officials, both people I'm trying to work with and support candidates. And any of you who were at Will's event last month have heard me say this already, but anytime I get a microphone in front of a crowd, I'm going to say this about Will because I really do believe it. He has the humility, the curiosity, and the courage to be a successful elected official, to be a successful government official. He has the humility to admit he doesn't always have all the answers immediately with every issue he faces, the curiosity to then dig in and try to find the answers to those questions that he doesn't fully understand, and then he has the bravery, the courage, which is lacking in our political system nowadays, to do the right thing when it's really difficult to do. Sometimes doing the right thing means looking at those in your own political party and saying, actually, this is the way to go. Will Chen, for the entire career he's been on Edmond City Council, has proven he has those traits in spades. Time and time again, he's taken the arrows for it. And that's why I've supported him enthusiastically. That's why I'll continue to support him for anything he ever runs for. He's gotten more of my money and more of my energy knocking on doors than any candidate, and he'll continue to do so because of the way he carries himself as an elected official, as a leader in our community. I personally believe that Will is going to win this campaign this year. Does anybody agree with me that Will is going to win the race this year? Does anybody think that Will can win the race by himself? No. Yeah, I agree. We could have the best candidate in the world who's going to work harder than anybody else, who's going to knock on all the doors, who's going to really commit, and we do have that in Will. But that doesn't mean anything if he doesn't have an entire community behind him, helping him get there. It starts with the kickoff event. It starts with him raising a boatload of money from all of us. But it also requires us to continue momentum for months. This is a long race. It helps that we're out there knocking doors with him. It helps that we'll be out there sign waving with him, making phone calls for him, and sharing his stuff on social media. I am fully committed to doing all that, and I will for the next 8 months. Who's committed to doing that for Will over the course of this year? That's what's going to get him across the finish line. That's what's going to help us. We need 100 Will Chens down in Olympia, but we're going to have to settle for just getting this first one across the finish line, and we'll work on the rest later. So thank you all for being here, and thank you all for supporting my friend Will. And I know we have a list of other speakers, but I'm not sure if I'm introducing anyone or not, so I botched that. I'm sorry. I'm not introducing.
So I nominated Will for the 2021 Edmonds Kiwanis Club Citizen of the Year. And I'd like to start my endorsement of Will as the Washington State 32nd Legislative District State Rep by sharing excerpts from that letter. I'm grateful for the annual tradition survived the pandemic, as the pandemic shines extra light on our extraordinary citizens. I'm nominating Will Chen for Citizen of the Year because he was already a strong contributor to the community and then leveraged all of his connections and personal capacity to be of even greater service during these difficult times. I met Will at an Edmonds Chamber of Commerce breakfast right after his appointment to the Edmonds Citizen Housing Commission. He was sharing his excitement about his appointment to this with the group that was assembled, saying that he'd be coming to them regularly to get their input on the process as the process unfolded. I asked him, intrigued, if he had received that guidance from the commission, and he said they had not yet met and that he had not received any guidance. It was insight into Will as a humble servant of the people that would be reinforced in spades by the letters of support that we received when he was a candidate for appointment to an open seat on the Edmonds City Council, from people who had worked with him in his professional capacity as a CPA and business owner, and from others who had worked with him on boards for charities and other volunteer work. Some of those people are in this room, I know, because I met them at that time. They tell the opposite story of the person who joins a board in name only. Will is the person who joins the board and then does the work of 10 people in that seat. While Will's representation of the International District and the community within it was not made official by the appointment to that council seat, he has served in that capacity unofficially since then, with council members, with the Chamber of Commerce, and with city staff reaching out to him whenever there was a message to get to that community or when input was needed from them. When there was a need for language translation, etc., Will answers every call to action. He also initiates his own action. He reached out to Public Works, for example, to make suggestions about what would be meaningful to the community as it related to the gateway signage project on Highway 99. He is working, and notice that this was, coming ahead to something that actualized, to create a meaningful local Lunar New Year celebration. He's made up public service commercials in languages other than English about the CARES Act grants and the PPP loans, and the value of wearing facial coverings. Last but not least, Will spent his own funds and leveraged his personal relationships with friends and family in China to bring personal protective equipment to our community, the first shipments of it arriving when these items were in possibly short supply here in the States. He distributed them thoughtfully to Stevens Hospital, local long-term care facilities, first responders, and other essential workers. Certainly, the 30,000 masks, 3,000 pairs of gloves, goggles, and other miscellaneous supplies have had an impact on the safety of our community in 2020. It is with gratitude for all of this that I nominate Will Chen for the Edmonds Annual Citizen of the Year. Sorry, that was just for Citizen of the Year. Since then, Will has been elected to the Edmonds City Council 2 times, serving on council with the same work ethic and same commitment to service that he brought to all of those roles in his personal life and community engagement. He demonstrated prior, as an Edmonds City Council, he has championed public safety, fiscal conservatism, while being a dependable vote for the environment and business. Additionally, he's played a major role in bringing us the newly founded Asian Service Center, the annual Lunar New Year celebrations, and soon to arrive welcoming approach to this Ballinger Park that we are in at this moment from the Edmonds border a few feet away. Besides this track record in character, why state representative? Working across the aisle and relationships, which is something that Councilmember Reed already kind of referenced. Will stays focused on serving the people, finding common ground and ways to improve efficiencies and outcomes for people, his residents, his constituents, and by doing so, is able to work with all members of our city council, all members of our county council, members of our councils in neighboring communities, many of which are here today, thank you, and also Snohomish and King counties, and members of our state and national delegation. I already referenced the pandemic once today, and I'm going to do it once again. Most of America watched the show Ted Lasso on TV then. It was a bright spot in a dark time. Through that, we were introduced to soccer player Roy Kent. He is here, he's there, he is everywhere, Roy Kent. Well, I'm everywhere in Edmonds. Will Chen is the other council member that I see everywhere I go in Edmonds. I'm in a lot of places elsewhere in Snohomish County. Will Chen is in all of these places too, and he's likely there when I miss those. Will is regularly in Shoreline and Seattle and Bellevue too. I only know of these experiences from his reports of what he saw and learned there because I was not there. Or I'm knowing it because he's introducing me to this or that person that he knows from these places. He is here, he is there, he is everywhere. Will Chen. Besides his work ethic, love for our community, and commitment to engagement and working across the aisle, we will need Will Chen in the state legislature because through relationships, he will be an influencer and work for the needs and desired outcomes of our community that he will represent. I am voting to put him in the legislature. I'm asking others to do the same, and I am supporting his campaign with my dollars. I hope that you will do all that you can to get him elected. He's here. Let's get him there. He is who we need. Will Chen.
Our community and our future. My name is Stephanie. I'm a mom, a social worker, and an active volunteer. You already heard. Every day, I was firsthand to see how much thoughtful, steady leaderships matter. And that's why I'm so proud to support my friend Will Chen. Will is someone who leads by example. He roll up his sleeve and get involved, whether it's help clean up the neighborhoods, serving the meals to those in need, or delivering holiday meals to families who could use a little extra support. He also worked to support immigrant families and seniors, helping connect them with resources and opportunity so that they can stay engaged and independent. But what is always stood out to me is that Will doesn't just care. He understands how to turn that care into real practical solution. He brings a strong financial background and a thoughtful approach to policy, which means he's not just talking about change. He knows how to make it happen in a way that lasts. As a small business owner, he understands how important local businesses are to our community. He believes in balanced, intentional growth that strengthens our neighborhood without losing what makes them special. And when it comes to public safety and community well-being, he focuses on solutions that are both effective and grounded in trust. But that's just Will's resume. What really stood out to me and why I'm here today is who Will is at his core. It's his integrity. It's his genuine passion for making our community better. He reflects the values of so many of us, people who care deeply about where we live, who want safe neighborhood, good school, and real opportunity, but who don't always have the time or platform to speak up. Will does that for us. He listens, he shows up, and most importantly, he follows through. He's not someone who makes promises just to win support or win election. No, he's a man of action. Someone who means what he says and work hard to deliver on it. As a mom, I think about the kind of example we're setting for our kids and the kind of community we are building for them to grow up in. I'm also thinking about our senior who help build this community and deserve thoughtful, steady leadership. I truly see Will as someone who brings people together and inspire confidence across generations. My peers, our kids, and those who come before us. That's why Will has my vote, and why I'm so proud to introduce him today. Please welcome Will Chen.
To see so many friends, family, and community leaders gather here to support a good cause. My name is Will Chen. I'm running to be your next state representative. And let me be clear, I'm not just running as a Democrat. I am a proud Democrat. I believe in opportunities, and believe that everybody have to pay their fair share. And I believe we need to fix our regressive tax systems. I also believe that hard work should be able to get you somewhere. It should be able to support a family. But if the system is not working with you, it's awfully difficult for you to do that. This is not something I just said. This is the way I live my life. I worked multiple jobs to get through the college program when I first immigrated to the United States in the mid-90s. I know what it feels like when you have to check your bank account before you go to the grocery stores to buy groceries. I know what it means to work hard all your life and still wonder if this is really enough. And let me tell you something, hard work do matters. But hard work alone is not enough if the system isn't working with you. If housing is out of reach, if childcare costs more than a mortgage, if costs and your wages doesn't keep up with the cost, then we're not just asking people to work hard. We're asking people to run uphills. That's why I'm running. I think we can do better. Do better not just with ideas, but with the practical understanding of how to turn those ideas into real actions. Let me briefly talk about what this means. First, we need a strong economy, because everything that we care about depends on it. Strong schools, public safety, and the safety net, none of it works if people can't afford to live here. We need to support small businesses, and we need to protect good paying jobs. Also, we need to make sure that working full-time is actually means something today. Second, housing. We are in a housing crisis, and we need to get serious about housing. Today, many people are priced out of their own community. Young families can't get started. People who grew up here can't afford to stay here. And seniors are worried about aging in place. We do need more housing, but we need to do it the right way. That means smart growth, real planning, and long-term thinking. And number 3, education. That's personal because my wife is a teacher. She has been teaching at the Sawcrest High School for 24 years now. And my son also is a freshman in high school. So this one is, in my family, is personal to me. Every kid deserves a good education, and every adult deserves the opportunity for continuing education. But we need to do a better job by linking education to real-world opportunities. College, skill trades, and workforce pathway, these are real opportunities that will lead somewhere. Those are the opportunities that will change lives. And number 4, we need to care for our family, our seniors, and the people with disabilities. Like many of you, I have helped care for senior parents as they age. My mother is here. 妈，你站起来一下。My mother is a brave woman. I want to spend a minute talking about my mom. She doesn't speak English. All she knows is hi, how are you? She's a good hugger. But when I immigrated to the United States in the mid-90s in Iowa, at times it can become like 20 degrees below. And my hometown back in China was in southern China. It's like in Southern California, all over. So as the oldest child, I'm here in the United States alone, and my mom left everything behind in China and just come to Iowa. This tiny little fragile body, she said, I will be there anywhere you go. So she has been here with me for the last 20 years. I owe everything to my mother.
Yeah, great.
So this is a real life for us, that many of us are balancing work, responsibility, and taking care of the elders. And we need to make sure the systems recognize that and actually support families through it. Now here's what you're gonna hear in this race. You're gonna hear a lot of big ideas, promises, things that will sound good, and I respect that. But I'm gonna offer something a little different. I am focusing on what actually works. I do believe in progress, but progress that must stand up in the real world. That means being thoughtful, being responsible. That means understand the impact of the policies and the decisions that we make as a legislator. Because the job as a state representative is not just saying yes to everything the governor said. It's about getting things right. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the expected candidate in this race. But I have spent my entire life proving that where you started doesn't necessarily determine where you end up. believe something simple. If we work hard, if we stay grounded, if we show up for people, we can earn our opportunity to live. More than 30 years ago, when I first immigrated to the United States in Iowa, my friend picked me up from the airport, took me straight to the back of a Chinese restaurant. In the kitchen, hand me an apron and say, "Welcome to America." Now get to work. That's how I get started, and I never stopped working. It is hard work and determination that stand in front of you today. I'm advocating for a better future for all of us. And I cannot do this alone. I need your help. We need to focus on solutions and not creating problems. And the reason I want to do this is I want to make sure that others will have the opportunity to reach their full potentials, because everyone deserves opportunity. Unfortunately, today we're also living in a time where opportunity seems so distant. And it feels like we're being divided more than ever. It's more extreme, more focused on conflicts rather than solution. This one is also personal to me. Today, immigrants are under attack by the masked, unidentified federal agent. I want to take a moment to remember a few contributions that immigrants have had for our nation. There were immigrants who played a crucial role in the construction of Transcontinental Railroad in the 1860s, which uplifted our nation's economy. There were immigrants who revolutionized science, like Albert Einstein. There were immigrants who changed the way we search the internet, like Sergey Brin of Google. There were immigrants who improved the way we dress, like Levi jeans. And there were immigrants who become first responders, who is protecting our very own way of life, like our officer Fri Sun of our police department in Emmons. And thanks to our own Socrates and University of Washington alumni, Howard who is the manager of the Orion program, that just successfully returned our astronauts back from the moon just yesterday. And he's an immigrant who actually, his parents, I just heard that from my wife Lisa, his parents actually play mahjong with Lisa's mom. What I want to say is, immigrants are part of us. We are the people who build our community. We are all in this together. Political polarization, focus on conflicts, and discrimination is not what our district needs. We need leaderships that's steady, that's focused on solution. And we need leaderships that is trying to solve problems rather than creating them. This campaign is something more than just one race. It's about people still believe in the system that work for them. Whether hard work still matter, whether families like yours and mine will have a real path forward. I believe we can build that future, but it's gonna take all of us showing up, knocking on doors, talking to neighbors, and let me tell you, I'm ready to work for you and with you. Thank you so much.
We heard words about Will Chen like integrity, like honesty, courage, hard work, showing up. Councilwoman Olson said he's here, there, he's everywhere. Not only is Will here, there, and everywhere, he's here for everyone. Will Chen, I know so well, believes that every member of our community deserves representation. Representation who listens whether or not he agrees with you, whether or not you're from the same background, whether or not you're from the same party. He listens carefully and respectfully and is honest in his response. When Will was going to run for his re-election in the council, I asked him, what's the opposition looking like? And Will said, well, there's another candidate running and this is their qualifications. And most politicians would have said, oh, unfortunately, there's another candidate running, because they would have wanted the easy way in. It's nice if you can run unopposed. I never had that opportunity. But Will said, no, I'm glad there's someone else running. It's good for the democracy if other people run. It keeps us honest and focused. That's rare. Here's something you did not hear today from anybody. You did not hear anyone criticize Will's other candidates in the race. We didn't hear the word opponent, not one time, not one time. So often in politics, people say, give me money because the other person is so bad. How many times have you heard that? I may be junk, but that guy's really bad. You never heard that, not one time from any of the speakers, and not from our candidate. When I say our candidate, I mean our candidate. Not because we have anything ill to say about other candidates in the race. There are some good people, some very good people. But because we so believe in this man who has put himself forward to serve us on the council, to volunteer, to show up wherever we are, to listen, and to bring skills. What did Will talk about? He talked about understanding how hard it is to make a living today. And he knows it firsthand. He talked about the importance of education, about the difficulty with housing, about discrimination and the horrible things we're seeing from ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. He talked about bringing people together. He talked about honesty, even if not just promises for grand things, but practical solutions that will try to solve problems. So he didn't say to us, negative about the other guy, give to me. He said, I'll be honest with you, I'll be there for you, I will represent you, and I'll do what's right. What more could we ask? What more could we ask? We could ask him to work hard. You can't ask him to work harder, because I know you can't do it humanly. So what I'm going to ask you is this. If you want to see things change in how people conduct politics, if you want to see better policy, if you want to see an individual who can represent all of us from all our different backgrounds, this is the person you want. Now, the hardest part about running for office today is you would really like to spend all your time meeting with the voters, listening to their concerns, crafting good policy, and Will spends a great amount of time doing that. But at the end of the day, you need these things too. You need to be on yard signs. I knew a politician once who was working their heart out to win an election that really, really mattered. And he called the person the night before the election, and the person on the phone, he was phoning voters. The person on the phone said, well, you know what I do? I save the things I keep in the mail. You know, all things we get in the mail. I put them in a shoebox. And then when it's time to cast my vote, I open up my shoebox and I make my decision based on what I read there. And the candidate who was running was a really good person. But he said, you know what? I'm not in the shoebox. I don't have enough money to be in the shoebox. That person lost the race by 3/8 of 1 percentage point. You think it would have helped to be in the shoebox? So what I want to ask you this. There's so many big races, federal elections, other state legislative races, etc. But how badly do we want somebody like Will Chen? How goodly do we want somebody is the better phrase. I really want people like Will Chen to serve as my representative in Congress or in the legislature. And I know you do as well. So some of you wrote checks on the way in. Some of you contributed before you came in. I want to ask you to do this. Be as generous as you possibly can. Evaluate the value of having people like Will Chen in our state legislature. Evaluate how hard he's working for us and ask yourself, can I work hard for him so that he can work for all of us? So please, thank you for coming today. But we've now got several months till this election, and we've got to give Will Chen the money he needs to get these in people's yard signs, to be in those shoe boxes, to run the advertisements, to run a winnable campaign. Why? So he can serve us. So ask yourself, how much is this worth to me? I think it's worth a lot. So please, show Will Chen how much you appreciate him. Show yourself how much you appreciate having representatives like Will. Donate as generously as you possibly can today, and don't make it your last. And then last but not least, tell other people. Please tell them that you met a really wonderful person, that you've heard him speak, you've seen him work, you've heard others compliment him. Let's get every single one of us to get every single vote we can and give as generously as we possibly can for our next state legislator, Will Chen. Will, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Who is the Snohomish County Council? Brian Barrett, who's a former congressman. Storm Peterson, who's a state rep. Jason Cummings, who is from Snohomish County prosecuting attorney. Vivian Olsen, who is the Edmond City Council member. William Page, who is a Mount Lake Terrace Council member. Jason Moon, who is Mukilteo Council Member 7, Selena Killen, who is a Port Edmonds Commissioner, and lastly, Julieta Atromio Crosby, sorry for mispronouncing your name, who is a PUD Commissioner.
And this somebody?
Well, 32!